If your confidence has quietly faded after 55, this video is for you, because confidence almost never disappears overnight. It erodes slowly through subtle stories we start telling ourselves. Stories that sound completely reasonable, even responsible, until you look at what they're actually costing you. I'm Dee Sung, and this is Follow Your Lighthouse. If you're a woman in your 50s or 60s, you probably didn't wake up one morning feeling this way. It's been a slow drift, a comment here, a health scare there, work shifting, roles changing, and over time, those experiences shape how you see yourself. Today, we're looking at 5 of those patterns, 5 mindset mistakes that are shaping how you move through life. And once you see them, you can change them. The first mindset sounds like this: my best years are behind me. You may not say it like that directly, but it shows up more like, I've already done the important things, that chapter is closed. And again, it can sound responsible, even wise. But here's what I've observed in my own life and in the women I coach. The moment you believe your best years are behind you, you stop fully investing in the ones you're currently in. You stop considering certain opportunities. You hold back in conversations, and you start describing yourself in the past tense without realizing it. Such as, I used to be, or I was always the one who, fill in the blank. I've worked with accomplished women who didn't lose confidence because they became less capable. They lost confidence because somewhere along the way, they decided their best chapter was already written. And once you believe that, you begin to stop asking what's possible and start asking what's manageable. That's the real cost of this mindset. But here's what this stage of life actually gives you: discernment, perspective, the kind of wisdom that only comes from having lived it. So I encourage you to stop asking, are my best years behind me? And start asking, where am I underestimating myself right now? It's not that your best years are behind you, it's that they look different than they used to. Now, if this feels familiar, you're not alone. So many women find themselves in this exact place. And if these conversations resonate with you, you are always welcome here. Now on to the second mindset, which sounds like this: it's too late to change. Too late to step away from something that no longer fits. Too late to want something different than what you chose, say, 20 years ago. And again, that can sound sensible, even mature. But when you look more closely, too late is often another way of saying, I don't want to upend the identity I've built. I don't want to appear uncertain at this stage in my life. I see this often in capable women. They're known for being dependable, steady, reliable, and over time, that identity becomes something they feel obligated to protect. So when a pull towards something else surfaces, it can feel unsettling, because choosing it means that people who know you well may see you differently. So the easier answer becomes, it's too late. Why try? But here's what I want you to consider. It's not too late to want something different. Not to prove anything to anyone, but because this season is asking something new of you, and you get to decide how to answer. It might look like saying no without an explanation, giving less energy to something that consistently drains you, returning to an idea you shelved years ago. Not a complete overhaul, just one decision that reflects who you are becoming. And here's a question worth sitting with. If you weren't worried about how it would look, what might you be willing to reconsider? And that question brings us directly to the third mindset, because often what stops us from even asking it is what I call outsourcing your worth to an invisible jury. And here's what that looks like. You make a decision, and almost instantly your mind jumps to how it will be judged by the people closest to you, by colleagues, by your partner. And without realizing it, you begin adjusting your tone, your explanation, sometimes the decision itself. And you catch yourself thinking, If they're okay with this, I can relax. If they question it, maybe I made a mistake. Maybe I was wrong. And over time, this will erode your confidence, because instead of asking, what do I actually believe? You ask yourself, how will this be judged? And you don't become less capable, you lose trust in your own judgment. I see this most often in women who've spent decades being the responsible one, the one who anticipated needs before they were spoken. And that attentiveness is a genuine strength, but when it becomes automatic, you stop including yourself in the equation. And every time you override your own instinct to avoid tension, you send yourself a message that my needs matter a little less. And repeated often enough, that message shapes how you see yourself. Now here's the shift. My perspective deserves equal consideration. And that's not above others, just equal. So something to try this week. Notice one moment when you feel yourself changing a decision to make it easier for someone else. Before you explain, before you justify, ask yourself, what do I actually believe here? You may still arrive at the same outcome, but now it's by choice. And that is exactly where confidence rebuilds, in the steady decisions where you start putting your own needs first. And yet, even when you begin doing that, there's often another voice waiting, one that says you're not quite there yet, which brings us to the fourth mindset. And it sounds like this. I'll feel confident once I have it all figured out. Once I lose the weight, once I get more organized, once I stop procrastinating. Confidence becomes conditional. It belongs to a future version of you, one who has finally arrived. And here's what that does over time. You meet one standard and you immediately raise it, not because you failed, because measuring yourself has become the habit. If I'm improving, I'm okay. If I'm not, something must be wrong with me. That is a hard way to live. I see this often, not only in myself, but in women who have given a great deal over the years. They've raised families, built meaningful careers, shown up consistently for the people they love. And yet, when they turn that same attention toward themselves, their first instinct isn't appreciation, it's assessment, it's even judgment. What's still not working? What needs to change before I can feel settled in myself? It's not always harsh self-criticism, just a quiet internal scorecard that never fully turns off. And when that scorecard never switches off, feeling like enough becomes almost impossible to reach. Not because you keep failing at it, but because you keep raising the bar before you get there. And here's what I want you to consider. Perfection is not attainable. And waiting until you achieve it, before you allow yourself to feel confident, means you'll be waiting forever. And self-acceptance is not giving up. It is deciding you are worthy of your own respect, exactly as you are right now. And here's the shift. I want you to notice this week how often you think, I'll feel confident once I've sorted this out. And instead, ask yourself, what would be different if I stopped waiting and I decided I was already enough? Again, confidence doesn't arrive once you've perfected yourself. It builds the moment you stop waiting until you have. And waiting is exactly what the fifth mindset is about. It goes something like this. I have to feel ready before I begin. I'll start when I'm less tired. I'll move forward when I feel more confident. Again, it sounds sensible, but underneath what it usually means is I'm waiting until this feels more certain, and certainty is rarely where you begin. Action is. I see this most often in women who are sitting with a decision that matters at any scale, returning to something creative, or moving on from something that no longer feels right. And if you wait until it feels certain, you can stay exactly where you are for a very long time. You see, you don't have to feel ready to be able to move forward. You just have to be willing to take the first step, even when it feels scary. And here's the shift. I can begin before I feel fully ready. You just need one step. Make the call, book the appointment, because confidence doesn't arrive in advance. It builds when you see yourself taking action amidst the uncertainty. So instead of asking, "Am I ready?" try asking, "What is my next small step?" and let that be enough to begin. So let's land here for a moment. The 5 patterns we've looked at today are not character flaws. They are stories. Stories you've been telling yourself for so long they've started to feel like facts. And the longer we hold on to stories that no longer serve us, the smaller we become. We stop raising our hand, we stop taking up space, we start to feel invisible, not because the world stops seeing us, but because we stop seeing ourselves. That is what midlife is really asking of us. Not to have all the answers, not to reinvent ourselves overnight, but to look honestly at the stories we've been carrying and ask whether they still deserve a place in the chapter we are living right now. Because you are not invisible. You are not past your prime. You are a woman with decades of wisdom standing at the beginning of something that can still be deeply meaningful. And it starts with the stories you choose to keep and the ones you finally decide to let go of. And here's an invitation before you go. Which one of these 5 patterns landed most deeply for you? And what is one small shift you will try this week? Share it in the comments. I do read every one of them. And if you'd like support taking your next step, I created the free 72-hour Compass Reset. It's 3 short daily videos and reflection sheets to go along with them, designed to help you get still enough to hear your own inner direction again. You'll find it in the description and in the pinned comment below. Thank you so much for being here. Take care, and I will see you soon.